Tonight on this super important show, snakes on a plane is real. You can finally make out with bugs. And ultra-right beer is a thing for some reason. The world is a stupid place. I'm one of your hosts, Destiny Adato, and joining me as always is my amazing co-host, Heather Jules Booth. How are you doing, Heather Jules Booth?
Hello. I am disturbed deeply by some of the things on our agenda for tonight.
Yes. And tonight we are joined by one of our favorite special guests, comedian and puppeteer extraordinaire, Julia Darden. Hello, Julia.
Hi,
Hi.
everyone. I had to move rooms right before this, and now I feel like I'm slating against my blank wall. Hello, Julia Darden. That's my profile.
Julia, for folks who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, you kind of wrapped it all up there in my intro, but yeah, I'm a puppeteer, comedian, been doing stuff around the city for too long. Almost 20 years at this point. I've known Heather for almost that long as well. So.
I know.
And I'm happy to be back. This is my third time, I think.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah. Joy pointed out that we should get you one of those like jackets, one of those SNL jackets.
Yes.
Yeah, at 5.
Oh my God, Dustin, we have to do that.
Yeah,
we have to do that.
Although I pointed out quickly that Joy's already done 5, so I think she was just doing that for the sake of. She just wants a jacket. Yeah.
She gets a jacket.
Yeah, but if you want the jacket, you have to come here to get it. So that's the only thing. You got to travel all the way down to Studio 2E.
I mean, I do love free swag, so it is a perk.
Okay. We will give it serious consideration. And thanks for Heather's cat for showing up. And
yeah, Colonel Grape. She is another co-host for tonight.
Yes,
she's interested.
Heather,
she heard there's a. Yeah, she heard about the story that we're about to use to kick off.
Yeah, do you want to get us going?
I would love to get us going. Yeah, I cannot believe that this is a real story. Here it is, everybody. World you crazy, and yes. This is Colonel Grape. Maybe we'll see her face at some point. If not, you may just see her butthole, which she's very proud of showing on air. A Tallahassee, Florida, are we surprised, inventor has come up with, he calls it a bug kissing device to kiss bugs. And normally I like to summarize these articles, but this article is so ridiculous. I'm straight up going to read some of this to you because it's insane. This man has developed a device that allows him to kiss bugs. It's tiny lips cut out from a baby doll attached by a spring onto a pacifier. Now, if that's not already setting off red alarms, and it should be, it's a thing. He put it up on TikTok, and he racked up. Yes.
You want the picture? You want me to bring up the?
Oh no! Let's hear about it first.
Okay.
So he put it up on TikTok, and he racked up millions of views. He has videos of himself kissing ants, kissing a worm, and it says he explains the correct way to kiss a bug, which is to move in slowly for a smooch, gently pressing the mini lips against the bug. You should avoid eye contact, as this can be threatening to some insects.
But,
I think that's time for the photo now.
But some insects are totally into it.
I think Julia has a question.
Yes.
So, I'm trying to remember. So he's not actually using his lips. He's using tiny.
He's using tiny lips cut off of a baby doll attached to a pacifier on a spring.
Right. It seems obvious. I mean, like. Bug lips are small. If you used, you'd smother.
Is he asking consent from these bugs, though? Is he?
He does have a video.
Oh,
some of the videos were rather assaulting in that they were not asking for consent, and then he had a third video where he gets a note from a roly-poly, and the note says like, "Yes, you may kiss me. Go ahead." Kiss me gently, or it was. I looked at it and I was like, "What weird performance art am I watching?" And then he has a video of him making it, which is him cutting the lips off this baby doll, which is also really creepy. Like, what just oh yeah, here's the note. I'm looking at the video right now. Yes, you may give me a kiss. I look forward to your lips. With love, roly poly. That's what the note said. And then he has a guide in this whole thing. He has guidelines like what size lips you're supposed to use for each bug.
Oh, so it's adjustable.
It's adjustable. So depending on the size of your bug.
How many lipless baby dolls does he have? Just like
that is Julia. That's an excellent question. I don't have an answer, but it's a great question.
Yeah, because there's 0% chance that that's not a red flag law kind of thing, where if you go into a person's house and they're like a bunch of dolls with no lips, like you go to jail, right? Like you know,
yes.
Like we don't.
I go over to someone's house with that, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" And then I probably leave and call some authorities.
Right. That's 100%.
Well, then you look at his TikTok and you realize, oh, he's just kissing bugs. Cool.
And that makes it better in what way? I don't
Oh, it wasn't better. I'm just saying that maybe ends more friendships.
Okay.
Yeah. Joy says you walk into a place like that, you run right out of there. Joy is correct.
Yeah.
Is the guy who does it the guy in this photo?
No, I think this is a fake guy, isn't it?
This is a model. Yeah, I couldn't tell based on the video, and I think that this is like a fake, almost like an AI looking face.
Okay.
This face does not look real.
Well, because I was about to make a read on just this man as a person.
I mean, make a read on him. Go ahead.
No, just that looking at this guy, it's not that off face that he's into.
He's kissing bugs?
Yeah.
Or just has a weird kink, I guess. I mean, I guess not to kink shame things, but it doesn't sound like he gets anything off of it.
No, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's all I don't even know.
I mean, I think as a whole we try not to kink shame too much, but I think
we're very good about it. We're very good about not.
But I think that there are some, like maybe this crosses the line of like I'll kink shame this one. Like
it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But I mean, I guess whatever the thing is, whatever floats your boat. But like at a certain point, like
whatever floats your boat, I guess.
I mean, he's famous on TikTok now, I guess.
Right, for bug kiss.
Right.
I'm gonna go look up his videos. I'm curious now.
See, so he accomplished what he was hoping for.
I will say, when I was writing the copy for the introduction, I was gonna put now you can French a bug, but then I was like, well, you can't really because there's no tongue involved, and I was like, oh, well, that seems like the logical evolution of this is that like once he sells a bunch, then
you've put it out there, and now that's the next thing that's gonna happen.
Yep.
Well, he can get the lips off that the baby alive doll that like move. Isn't there one you like feed and it's like tongue sticks out a little bit? I shouldn't use my hands like that. That's very suggestive. But
wasn't there one from like the 90s or like the 90s? Like you fed it stuff,
like a little tongue would come out and.
Yeah, and it ate stuff, and then it like pooped it out, but then it was eating people's fingers. That's the evolution.
Yes. No, it sucked kids' hair in because it didn't.
Is that what it did? I thought it ate their fingers.
I mean,
well, there you go.
That too, but it didn't have like the gears of it would like not stop.
So anyway, what we're saying is that's the evolution of this.
Yeah.
Just sucking bugs up through baby mouth.
Thank God I'm not in TikTok movement yet.
Yeah.
This is the correct.
Anything else on this, or do we want to move on to our next story?
I mean, sound off in the chat. What's the first bug you'd want to kiss if you had the bug lips?
Ooh.
I mean, hold on. Before you answer that question, we have to take butterfly out of the equation because I feel like everybody is going to go butterfly because butterflies are all like sweet and adorable, and you know.
Joy already said none.
Okay. Right. But yeah, after butterfly, I think the answer is none. I mean, I think even with butterfly, the answer is none. But I feel like everybody romanticizes the butterfly, even though like it's just a bug with pretty wings. It's still gross.
It's still a caterpillar, which doesn't gross me out, but I'm not looking to like make out with it.
But like if a sexy ladybug came up to you, you don't think you'd?
They're not sexy. They're bugs.
But it's a really attractive one as well.
how can a bug be attractive? It's just not a thing.
Okay.
I was in a puppet show with like giant. I mean, we all played human-sized insects and things like that. I don't know. That praying mantis got a little seductive every once in a while.
But then is that just? I want to call it a furry, but is there a different? Is it called like a buggy? Like what is that then?
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah, for sexual purposes. We've gone to a different realm.
We've gone into a different world now. But I'm curious what that's called.
did we find like the one thing that like in reality, other than this dude, isn't like a sexual kind of thing? Like I've never heard of people who dress up as bugs.
I haven't
and do
either,
it.
and I have heard of furries, but
Right.
I have not heard of.
I think it would still be in
Bug
the
sex
realm of
people.
furry because furries, like, you don't have to be like they're mascots, so you can just be, I think.
Just non-human.
Oh,
It's
Is
not
that the-
human, yeah.
is that also the thing about furries? It's mascots. I didn't
Like
know
a
this.
lot of the costumes are like mascot costumes.
Oh,
Or
didn't know
like
that.
the same, built the same way.
So like Mr. Met and stuff, or is it like? Is that?
It's not human.
Yeah, I mean it's true. I
my God.
bet Mr. Met. I bet Mr. Met and what's his face and the Philadelphia guy.
Grady?
Yeah, Gritty. I bet they do
Gritty,
really well.
yeah.
I bet
I
they're.
bet there is a subculture of.
I think there is
people who
definitely a
are
Grady
turned on by
subculture.
those
Yeah.
mascots.
Yeah, I think there's probably fan fiction about those mascots.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
Especially
somebody in the chat.
Yeah.
Weird googly eyes.
Joy, of course, is here with the logic of mascots because that's the only adult-sized furry animal costumes out there. Good point, Joy. Good
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Joy, for finding the science
Voice of
behind it.
reason.
Yeah, the voice of reason, exactly.
That's why she gets a blazer.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's definitely gonna make me buy her jacket now. Do we want to move on to story number 2?
I think so.
All
This
right.
one's my story.
Yeah.
Okay, so real life snakes on a plane happened recently.
I told you, Joy. I told you it was real from the beginning. She didn't believe me. Okay, continue. Sorry.
So, oh yeah, this did happen. It happened last week or a couple weeks ago in South Africa. A pilot, it was one of those like small, like 4-person planes, took off from a town in South Africa, and they'd been riding for a little while and then felt something on his leg. And it was a king cobra, I think. Hold on, let me make sure I know the exact venomous snake. Yeah, it was a large Cape cobra under his seat. And he told everyone, and we had to make an emergency landing, but still had to fly the plane for about 15 minutes with a snake just wrapped around his leg. And a very, very deadly snake. And this is actually, in my opinion, the creepiest fact is they landed the plane. There were like emergency people waiting, and they went to find the snake, and they couldn't. They could not find the snake in the plane. And then the people who owned the plane, because this guy was just the pilot, wanted their plane back. So he had to, not being able to find this snake 2 days later, fly it back to where their original destination was for about 90 minutes, it said. He dressed up in like a winter coat, and and he like wrapped a blanket around his feet in case it reappeared. And luckily it didn't, and he returned it to the owners, and they still to this day have not found this snake in this plane. They have taken the entire plane apart, so they don't know.
And just like, it's not like, this is the plane. It is not a big plane. Like, there's not a whole ton of places.
4 people.
Where'd that snake go?
Yeah.
I guess that snake was just a passenger, just wanted a ride.
No, thank you.
Yeah, they think it like snuck on while they were loading the plane in the first city, but hold on, there was a detail in the article. When he came back, he dressed himself up. That's it. But he brought his weapons of choice to fight this snake. Were pretty great. Yeah, he brought a fire extinguisher, a can of insect repellent, and a golf club.
Okay.
In case the snake reappeared when he had to fly it back to its owners.
All right.
Yeah, this is what I assume the inside of the plane looked like during the whole time, with all sorts of crazy snakes and everything. So, yeah, that's what I assume was happening the entire time.
What a great, ridiculous film.
Yeah, I loved it. It's one of my favorite movies I've ever been to.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Yes.
I just don't know why setting off a fire extinguisher in that tiny plane would.
It's not
to fight
it,
that.
it wouldn't.
No, I think it's just a blunt.
It with a golf club while you're flying a plane.
I think they're very lucky that didn't happen.
Yeah, no. According to the article, like he felt it along his legs, but it kind of just like stayed curled up around his feet for the ride, and then when they landed, it had disappeared.
Just wanted to cuddle.
So my question to you then is, did anybody else see it, or maybe did he just do drugs before he started flying the plane, and there was no snake?
Like something brushes against your leg, and you're like, "Oh, what? It's a snake," and it's really just like a hose.
But didn't he specifically say it was a king cobra?
Cape cobra.
How would he know that?
I guess he saw it. Sorry, now my cat is joining in on the. Yes,
she knows. She knows that there's another cat sitting like right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So we may never know what happened to this stupid.
Was the snake that, in theory, was on the plane poisonous?
Yes, apparently a Cape Cobra is very deadly.
Okay, that is terrifying then, because like if it was not poisonous and it was just hanging out. I'm not saying I want to live it.
There wasn't a picture in the article of what a Cape Cobra looks like, but they made it seem like it's probably like it's a big snake. It's not a little unimportant snake.
Man, that's wild.
Mm-hmm. It's very upsetting.
Yeah.
It's really.
But it's.
You know what no one's doing for this? Nobody is putting baby doll lips and kissing that snake. That's what's happening. And I really hate that sentence that just came out of my mouth, but I didn't think about it before I said it. So,
no one is baby doll kissing this snake.
Nope.
But I hope that it's living just in the depths of this plane,
just waiting,
living its best life.
Yeah. That's so horrifying.
Coming next year, cocaine snake.
Yes.
Oh my god. That's such a good sequel. If Cocaine Bear and Snakes on a Plane came together. Oh my god.
Cocaine Snake, get on it, sci-fi. Get on it.
There was like an offhanded joke in Family Guy this week, where the guy's like, "Wait a minute, I have an idea. Netflix for guns." And the other person was like, "You are just a trillionaire right now." And I was like, "Yeah, whoever did Netflix for guns would be a trillionaire, in the most upsetting way, but it would work." And
especially if you just drop them back in a mailbox to mail them back.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's probably coming soon. Speaking of, let's move on to our third story. Okay. What did you want? I'm sorry. Did I jump us? Did you want to talk more?
No. I was going along with how sad this thing is.
So
coming.
So we don't normally cover political stories on this show. We generally go for things that are just silly. This felt like it was silly, but also sort of horrific and bad. And it just, sometimes you just need to talk about it because you need to get it out. For me, I just needed to get it out. So this week, everybody, all the ultra conservative folks got up in arms because Bud Light sponsored a transgender influencer for March Madness. And somehow that meant that Bud Light was against every conservative value that's ever happened. And before I get into the story, I do want to say, as a country, and again, I'm going to get serious for a minute. As a country, we should be ashamed of the way we're treating trans people. And I think we will look back on it. We should be ashamed now. We will look back on it in a deep shame in the future. I cannot believe that it's a thing that we are actively okay with. I just needed to say that before we get into it. So,
no, I'm glad you said it, Dustin. Yeah. I sure hope that we're going to look back on it with deep shame, but we haven't been great about that. So let's see.
True. So,
fingers crossed.
So a former manager for Trump's 2016 campaign decided that he was going to cash in on this whole idea of Bud Light being awful because of supporting a transgender influencer. So he made a commercial for a beer called Ultra Right Beer. I'm going to play the commercial. We'll make fun of it, and then I will show a bunch of pictures of the influencer, because that is the person who actually should be getting screen time, not this douchebag. But this is so much a parody of itself that it needs to sort of be made fun of. I didn't test to see if you guys would be able to hear this, so if you don't, let me know and I'll stop it.
I'm gonna make up words if we don't.
Yeah. You can hear it?
America's been drinking beer from a company that doesn't even know which restroom to use. That's why I created Conservative Dad's Ultra Right 100% woke-free beer. As conservatives, we're constantly getting hit in the face, left and right, by the woke mind virus. But the last place we
hit
want
in the face
is in our beer. If you know which bathroom to use, you know what beer you should be drinking. Stop giving money to woke corporations that hate our values. And to the rest of you woke corporations, stay the away from our kids.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, right?
Buy yours online in 42 states at Ultra Right.
I want to send all the bugs after him with
Tastes
tiny human lips to come kiss him.
I mean, if he really wants to own trashy shit water beer as his own, all right. Because you know that's what it tastes like. Bud Light's not even good.
No.
Like, we're fighting over a product that's like fine.
Sujatha is pointing out that there's a Stephen Colbert fake commercial in response, which I haven't seen, so I look forward to looking it up after. Thank you.
It looks like an SNL sketch. Like, it looks like we just watched an SNL sketch.
It does, doesn't it?
Right. One of the comments was like, I don't know how you could parody this and make it more parody. Like, this is...
It's already a parody.
Yeah.
It's already a parody. The fact that he literally says, and it's going to hit you in the face, and I'm like, okay, that's sure. You just said hit you in the face. Sure.
I'm glad he put his own sound effects over it, too, so it made it seem like he was hitting that ball extra hard.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, the sound of guns, because, freedom.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. There was also a thing I didn't grab it, but there was also Kid Rock was shooting cans of Bud Light because because
I did see those videos. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Just because before we it's $20 for a 6-pack, by the way. And as Sujatha is pointing out, because they couldn't make it at scale. Because they basically like invented it like to capitalize on this.
Of course.
Yeah. The person who is caught, that this guy hates so much, is a influencer by the name of Dylan Mulvaney, and she's blown up, I believe, on TikTok and all that. Just seems like the devil here, huh? Like wearing red, trying to ruin
corrupting
everything.
Children, clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. Here again, just notice how she's always wearing red because of.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Because of the devilness.
She's wearing the pattern of diamonds, which is diamonds are a child's best friend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then here's from the actual like promotion. She was on the can. She was drinking beer. It was no big deal. You see like a brief clip of it in the awful, awful commercial.
I want to take a second to shout out.
Yeah.
I love her Audrey Hepburn
I was
vibe.
just about to say, I feel like there's a world where where we could convince right-wing people that this is Audrey Hepburn.
It's just Audrey Hepburn.
Right.
You're like, it's Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dylan's kind of rolling with it. Like,
I mean, because what else are you gonna do?
right.
Yeah.
Right. As I said, the douchebag who made it. I'm not even gonna say his name because fuck
No,
that guy.
I agree. I think that's right. Yeah.
But
Well, and it's so sad that this is such an escalation of the Bud Light thing because in reality, they didn't sell it worldwide, the can with Dylan's face on it. They made her own special cans and sent them to her, and she put them out on social media. So it's not even like they mass marketed this. They just are this is such an escalation of
escalation. It's just such a I can't even think of the word I want, which is just I'm angry.
yeah, and
I'm just yeah.
and there were folks who were initially politicians who were initially supporting it, and then some of their accountants sort of leaned over and said, "Hey, actually, Anheuser-Busch sponsors the shit out of everything that we do." And all of a sudden, everybody was like, "Oh, you know what? It's one thing that
It's just beer.
Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big deal until all of a sudden everybody was just like, "Oh no, that's gonna harm our bottom line."
This messes with your lobbyists. They're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. So, that's all for that. It was a thing that in case people hadn't seen it, I wanted to point out because it was so ridiculous. And Julia, as you pointed out, a ridiculous escalation, really a money grab from this douche who's just who basically just knew these people are such idiots that they'll drop $33 on a fucking 6-pack of beer that I'm sure is awful because it says right on the beer. And it says anti-woke, which what the fuck is woke beer?
Well, it's like when they all started saying snowflake, when everyone co-opted that phrase, that word to be an insult.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And just the constant talking points, it's exhausting. The constant talking points, all the same things. And it's just
Yep. So we'll go
disappointing.
We'll go another 50 episodes without going back into politics, but this is one of those ones that needed to get shouted out because it, as not talking about the ridiculousness of the way we treat transgender people in this country is to some degree supporting it, and it needs to be yelled at more. And we're not going to get into politics a lot, but this one felt like it jumped over a line. Anyway.
No, good job. Thank you, Dustin. Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up. And thank you for bringing it to this because you're 100% correct. 100% correct. We support trans people, trans rights, human rights. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting what we're doing.
In the meantime, feel free to like and subscribe because if you enjoy the show and you want to hear more about it, it helps people know what's going on. So let us now move.
And if we've upset you with our content, we don't care.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. If that previous segment was upsetting to you, don't watch.
Yep. Bye.
Which brings us to What the Fact. Which, for folks who have not seen the segment before, it is where I ask 3 questions that I'm, to some degree, hoping you guys don't know the answer to, and see if you can guess the right answer. We love for chat to play along, and hopefully this will be fun and you will learn an interesting, fun thing today. So, Julia, I'm going to come to you first, so get ready. Okay. What is different about the way Ethiopia tells time? Do they have a calendar with 13 months instead of 12 in Ethiopia? Do they start their day at 6 a.m. instead of midnight? Or do their weeks not include Mondays? What is different about the way people tell time in Ethiopia? Thoughts?
This is hard. Normally, I feel like I kind of know this, but this one I do. This will be an honest guess, but I'm going to say B starts the day at 6 a.m.
Okay. Okay. What is that? Just a random guess.
It's just a random guess. I mean, no Mondays would be great, but I don't.
Okay.
And 13 months. Yeah, I don't know. All of these could seem plausible, so I'm just gonna shoot in the dark.
Okay. We got a few all the aboves in chat.
We got all of the above in chat before you even put the answers up. So
Yeah.
I think Topping
seem
is making a
plausible.
statement on your questioning.
Heather, what do you think?
I'm torn between A and B,
Okay.
but I think that I'm going to go also with B, that a day starts at 6 a.m. Because I feel like I haven't heard about this, and I feel like if it were something so drastic like 13 months or no Mondays, I would have heard about it. Like in life, you would have heard like, well, over in Ethiopia, they don't have Mondays, or like, oh, it's 365 days a year, 12 months, except Ethiopia does this. I just feel like somewhere in the world we would have heard of it, so I'm going to go with B.
Okay. I guess Sujata's coming in with B as well.
Oh, yes, indeed.
The actual answer to the question is not all of the above, but it is A and B. A and B are both correct. They do a 13-month calendar. And because of the way that calendar is a little bit different, it is actually the year 2015 if you are in Ethiopia.
Oh my God, can we go back and save them from COVID? Can we?
Possibly.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. It's
So,
2015.
yeah,
We've got to warn them. We've got to protect them.
Yeah.
Don't go to 2020.
I tried to figure out what month they added or did, or whatever, but every calendar.
Yeah, what did they? Yeah.
But every calendar I could find was in, like, Ethiopian. So, like, it was all, like, symbols that I was unfamiliar with. So I couldn't be like, oh, that's January and that's February, and you guys added whatever. I couldn't figure out, like, in any of the calendars, like, what month got added or how it was different. But there are 13 months in the Ethiopian calendar. Still 365 days, but they just divide them up differently. Yeah.
Wait, did you find out the reason though? Like why?
No, I didn't do. I only have time for so much research. So
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Your research team couldn't figure this out.
Yeah, I need a research team. I would love a research team. All right,
I'm so curious. Another thing I want to look up afterwards.
Yeah. Question number 2. How would scientists describe what happens to you if you get sucked into a black hole?
Bugs kiss you.
Yeah. And Heather, I'm going to come to you first on this. Would you be considered holified? Would you consider going through spaghettification? Or would you be considered going through radical hole removal? This is only one of them is true. Scientist has a specific term for what happens to your body when you go through a black hole. Which one is it?
I think it's B.
Spaghettification?
I feel like I've read this somewhere.
Okay.
I just feel like I've read it somewhere. I also feel like holified and radical hole removal are just too delightfully ridiculous.
Okay. But spaghettification
Like they sound
seems like a
jokes
normal
I
thing.
would make. No, it doesn't. But it sounds like it's just odd enough that science would be like, well, it's based on this, and it's based on the Latin word for something that sounds like spaghetti.
Okay.
Or maybe you maybe you go through and you get flattened like a noodle.
Okay.
I'm going with B.
All right.
I swear I've read this somewhere, but I'm not positive.
Julia,
I'm sticking with B.
what are you thinking?
I actually am with Heather here. I feel like I've heard spaghetti in terms of space before.
Okay.
I don't know where. I don't know why. But also, I guess for me, like, sci-fi wise, when they show you like going through a wormhole or something, you like spread.
Hmm?
They stretch you like noodles.
Blossom is so interested.
She's so yeah. She's like, I like spaghettis.
Yeah. So we got it's not all of the above topping. No, like
But Sujatha and Joy are also with B, and Topping said A.
yeah. So the actual answer, you guys got it. It is spaghettification. Basically, like it starts picking at individual points in your body. So you're like technically, if you went into a black hole, you would be broken up into a bunch of like individual like strips.
All noodles.
Yeah, a bunch of noodles, as opposed to like Like your body would be like thousands of noodles as opposed to like one giant noodle. But yeah, that's so they call it spaghettification. And bizarrely, Spellcheck knew that word. There were so many words that Spellcheck didn't know.
Spellcheck's like, gotcha.
Yeah, but it's like, oh yeah, no, I know spaghettification.
Everyone knows that. I don't.
Okay, so our third question involves comic books, and it's unfortunate that I discovered this question after we had Chris on the show, but here we are.
Yeah, that feels like a slap in the face.
Yeah, so in the 1970s, Spider-Man, in the Spider-Man comics, he teamed up with who to fight evil? Which one of these three did he team up to fight evil? And I'm going to give you that it is only one of them. So, topping, don't answer all of the above. Did Spider-Man team up with the Smurfs to fight evil? Did he team up with the cast of Saturday Night Live to fight evil? Or did he team up with Flipper the Dolphin to fight evil? Julia, I'm going to come to you first. Which do you think he teamed up with?
These all sound amazing. And I want to see the spin-offs of all of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go wild. I'm going to say Flipper the Dolphin.
Okay. That would be hard because Spider-Man is always in the air and Flipper is always in the water.
That's why they need double fort to about land and sea.
Right.
They can fight evil both ways.
And Topping's going with you. We got some A's, we got some C's. Heather, what are you thinking?
Well, I don't think it's A because I don't think the Smurfs existed in the 70s. I think the Smurfs are an 80s thing. They like
I don't know.
mid 80s, early to mid 80s.
Also,
some weird.
they're not real.
Yeah, they're also not real. Good point. Also, yeah. They're also blue. So what are they doing? Fighting.
I mean, well,
Right.
actually, I'm throwing that logic into an illogical situation.
Right, Spider-Man's not real.
Spider-Man. Well, listen, Spider-Man's is real as shit, but them Smurfs, yeah. I think the cast of Saturday Night Live is a hilarious answer, and knowing what a hot ticket they were, sure, but also it still was for kids, and I don't feel like they represented a kid's. I'm not saying it was only had to be for kids, but like I feel like they don't represent values that like you were going to be like, hey kids, come do comedy and drugs and speedballs. Like that just doesn't feel. So I'm going with Flipper the Dolphin. Also because it feels like if Spider-Man's a spider and Flipper's a dolphin, like that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense to me. They can like command animals in like different ways, or he can like throw web and Flipper can use his flippers to. Yeah, I'm going with C.
Okay. So for me, like, as we're going through these, I think we always talk like you guys are partially trying to figure out psychologically what I would do in the whole thing. It's fun for me. It's not as much fun for me when you guys all get it right. It's very fun for me when you guys all get it wrong. And everybody got it wrong. It is the cast of Saturday Night Live.
Oh my God, it is.
It is. I think I have a picture
Please.
of it.
Because they were just so hot. They were such a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. What did they do? I have so many questions.
Didn't you know that Samurai's for
Oh,
real?
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. There's a whole comic book with like Garrett Morris getting into shit. Like it's amazing.
Were they fighting?
I don't know. Cause every page I could see was just them having conversations amongst themselves. This is the only like
amazing.
combat.
This is.
But yeah, it's I want to get this very much. I want to read this comic book.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to ask Chris about this.
Yeah, if you can get Chris to find it for us, I think we should read it in a future show.
I think that would be one of those, like when we talk about doing a live show, like where we have an audience with us. That's
yeah. So yes, the cast of Saturday Night Live got together with SNL and did.
That's wild. That
full-
goes to show you how popular that was.
Yeah, I think I think that's like Dan Aykroyd. I think I can make out Dan Aykroyd in the bottom left.
That's definitely Dan Aykroyd over in the corner there, like all the way over.
Yeah.
I cannot figure out who are the two people between Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi.
I cannot
Other
either.
than like, it looks like Weird Al, but there's no way that's Weird Al. And I don't know who's above him. Who is that?
And
It's just one of the staff writers that season.
Yeah, probably.
Just
And then
throw
there's a
it.
blonde lady, and I'm like, who is that? Is that Jane Curtin? Because I can't really think of any like platinum blondes that were in.
I believe it is because I saw in one other pane that they were talking to Jane Curtin.
Okay.
So yeah. Again, another fun thing to do research after the episode is over. So yeah, that is our What the Facts for today. Hopefully you learned something. This was definitely one of my more fun ones. I felt like I had a good time. Because what are they like? What? So yeah, that's what we have. Let me find the right buttons to get us into Would You Rather. Heather, do you want to kick us off with our first Would You Rather?
Yes, I'm giving a chin scratch to Colonel Reagan. So
Okay.
hold on one second. All right, here we go. Would you rather? Oh, what an appropriate question considering what I just said. Would you rather have the ability to control the weather or the ability to control animals? Oh my gosh, that's so funny that's that question. Julia, I'll come to you first.
Oh, I think I'm going to go with control animals.
Mm.
I guess because I like animals more, makes more sense. I mean, I enjoy a multitude of different weathers. If it was the same all the time, that would be boring. So with animals, you can, controlling animals, and you can have them around you all the time. That would be. And honestly, sometimes my cat's is annoying, and I wish I could just be like, stop doing that, and she actually would. I'm sure Heather can relate.
No, she shows her butthole on camera all the time.
I feel like that's such a
So
wholesome
Dustin,
answer.
yeah.
So my turn?
So Dustin, yeah. Yes, it's your turn.
Okay, so I'm gonna go. It feels like chat's coming up big on weather. I'm gonna also go with weather for a similar, not a full rob a bank situation, but here's the thing.
Oh my god.
But here's the thing.
No, 'cause you would want animals if you want to rob a bank.
Right. But I'm saying I'm gonna go better than robbing a bank, because if you're robbing a bank, you got to deal with the consequences of bank robbing. You probably get away with it. You could send a bunch of gorillas in, and they would rob a bank, and everything
Not
would
if
be
you
fine.
send animals after them.
But if you're controlling the weather, you can like stop global warming. You know, like you can, every time a country's having a drought, they can be like, hey, I'll give you like $100,000 to go make it rain. I'd be like, fuck yeah. You know?
That's it. $100,000.
Right. Well, it depends. It depends on the richness of the country. But even still, you could just go to like rich people, and they'll be like, hey, you know, my daughter's having a wedding. Can you make sure it's nice that day? And I was like, sure, for, you know, small amount, or, you know, for some sort of amount of money. So it's like legal, like bank robbing, essentially. Like, and you're saving the world by virtue of getting rid of global warming. So like you double those things.
And in theory, with that argument, that almost becomes like a Robin Hood type thing where like, yeah, some Richie Rich is like, my daughter's getting married. She needs to have beautiful, perfect weather. Because that's how they all talk. And you would get the money, and then you could use that money towards something good.
Right. Or you could punish people who should have bad weather on days that they want important things.
True, too.
Every time there's some like, you know, like dumb, like Charlottesville kind of thing or whatever, you're like, and thunderstorm, and everybody go home now. So anyway, I'm getting too political for this one. All right. So yes, so I'm gonna go weather.
You're going with weather.
Yeah.
That's going with weather. I am also going with weather. For a couple different reasons. I mean, you touched on some of them, which is like immediately I was like, oh, I could fix climate change, which to me is huge because it's very alarming. I also love the concept of just like, if I could control the weather, yeah, like you could just use that to your convenience at any point. And like, even if you wanted to still have different seasons, you could still like, oh, you have to like get to work. Well, I'll make it so that it's sunny and 65 degrees just for this, just for these 20 minutes, and it won't affect the climate. I like it. I like controlling weather. I also feel like a couple of people in chat said this, and I kind of agree with her. Like, I would feel bad about controlling animals. I think I would too. Like, more appealing to me would be like to talk to them, like to actually be able to understand them and talk to them. But I feel like don't know. Controlling the weather's exciting. Really enjoy it. And I don't always agree with you, Dustin, about your slightly like nefarious ways that you do stuff, or you have these plans. But I love the idea of the whole Robin Hood. Like, you could really put some, you could definitely exploit is maybe the wrong term, although I guess it is. But you could exploit some like really selfish people and like use their money for good and fix climate change.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
great. Let's move on then, Julia.
All right,
your turn.
You gave me a very ridiculous, would you rather? I feel it's very pointed at me.
Me?
Yeah, I know. But so my query is, would you rather be a hand puppet or a marionette?
What, Dustin?
What? Do you know how many would you rather questions I need to come up with? Like,
yeah.
Fair, that's true.
So, Dustin, I'm going to ask you first, since clearly you've thought about this.
I went with hand puppet because I feel like there would be a little bit. I don't know if you guys have ever have you guys ever been like picked up like by somebody else? It's a very disconcerting thing. Like I always get like immediately like stressed out if I ever get picked up by somebody. I think partially because I'm 6'3" and nobody picks up like a tall man ever, but when they do, it's very upsetting. And that's how I picture being a marionette, that you're like always just sort of like unstable. So I felt like, as much as I don't want to have a hand all up in me, I feel like I would have a security there that would be like, I would feel better than if I was just sort of like being balanced. I don't know if you've ever done those like Sweet 16 kind of things or bar mitzvahs where they're like the person's like up on a chair and everybody's walking around the chair, like like that thing that I think happens at bar mitzvahs a lot. It's very.
Oh, you mean wait? What?
You mean like lifting you on a chair?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about when they lift them in the chairs?
Yeah, and they like bring a person around and they're like I've done that once and it was very, very upsetting. And that's how I picture being a marionette. So I would go with hand puppet, even though I don't necessarily want like somebody's hand all up in me. So I have a strong opinion on that. Yes, if you're wondering. What about you, Heather?
Marionettes are the ones that are on the strings, right?
Yeah.
I think that's more fun. I think that would be more fun to be like on, like all the different parts being. I like that better. I think that's whimsical and more fun and more interesting. And like, yeah. But hand puppet is just like someone's hand is up your hole and that's your whole life. I think you don't have as much. I mean, I'm going to say something that's not true because I've seen Julia hand puppets to complete human life. But I was going to say, I feel like there's less you can like emote and do, whereas I feel like marionettes are like, I can see them being really like, but I have seen Julia make hand puppets look extremely realistic. So I guess it just depends on your puppeteer.
Oh yeah, that is another factor on top of this.
It depends on your puppeteer. Yeah. But I'll stick with marionette.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go practical like Heather, because I know the structural soundness of both of these types of puppets. So actually a lot of the arguments you say, Dustin, as a hand puppet, you'd be more crumpled and more wobbly, actually, from... Hold on, Bob, brought me a pipe cleaner.
Oh my
gosh. But I'm also going to go with marionette because you actually have a little more structural control to your own body as a marionette from the scientific center of gravity and the way they are constructed. If with a hand puppet, you truly are the only structure you have is coming from the puppeteer's hand would be up your ass the whole time.
Okay. All right. I feel like I've offended you by having
not at all.
All right. Which brings us to our last question, which is my question. Okay. So So you have this magical superpower, and I'll give you the options and I'll explain what they are. You can either make a person poop on command.
God damn it, Dustin.
And they'll know, you can decide whether or not they know that it's you. So you can be like, you just pooped, and yes, it was all Heather's fault, or, or whatever. Or you can make a person orgasm, but they don't know that it's you. They will have an orgasm, but they will never know that you were the one. So you can just be like, I'll be a sex god because I can, I can totally do whatever. Because they'll never know that you were involved in that process. So it's a weird question. Again, I got to come up with a lot of these. I'm going to go to you first, Heather, because of the look of disgust on your face.
Yeah, this is a disgusting question. This is really terrible. I am going with poop because that is a way more fun power to wield because you can wield that on your enemies. Mm-hmm. And you said they have to know that it was me, or they don't necessarily?
They don't necessarily. You can...
Cool. Even if they did, and it doesn't, even if they did know it was me and they couldn't, come at me for it. I don't know. I think making people poop is a lot better. I don't know what because you can always use that on their enemies, and that's always going to be a negative thing. Mm-hmm. You don't know about the other one's creepy. It could be creepy. It could be something people don't want. You could have people who are upset by that.
Hold on, though.
What if they're at their workplace or something?
Right, but
I mean, then I guess you could use it for bad.
Right, I guess, yeah, but your other choice is forcing them to poop. If I had to choose between involuntarily pooping and involuntarily having an orgasm, I'm going to pick involuntary orgasm 100% of the time because, A, I'm having a good time, and B, it's a lot easier to deal with.
I've also watched enough House MD to know that sometimes it can kill people. That was a whole episode.
Pooping or orgasming?
It was orgasming. There was an entire episode about a person that was she had some kind of medical issue, and I can't remember what the point of it was, but it kept happening over and over again, and she was finally going to die from it because her body was going to break down, or she was going to have a heart attack or something. I don't remember fully, but most of my things can tie back to House MD. But I got to go with poop. I just think that's a better power to wield. I just like it better.
Okay.
Shitty people got to shit.
Okay. Julia?
Yeah. I mean, initially, I also said pooping for the nefarious reasons as well. But also, I just realized, people, constipated people, it's a big medical issue, too, and you could help.
Could be used for good.
Also could use your poop for help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that would be fun. Yeah, and I'm also with Heather. Just, spontaneously making people orgasm is kind of creepy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I guess maybe
it is.
Anytime it's something sexual, it just...
This is why we're friends.
Yeah.
This is why we're friends, because we're both no, that's just weird. Don't do that. Did Julia just freeze?
I froze on that. I took a moment to reflect on our friendship.
That's so great.
Our poopy friendship.
Poopy friendship. Yep. But I do appreciate everyone bringing up that there's good poop. There can be good poops too.
Yeah. I am not.
We know what you're choosing, Dustin.
Yeah,
we already know.
I'm going to go the other way. Because here's okay. So this is going to sound like I'm going left, but I promised I'm going to come back right.
We've already seen the beer, so.
So when I was walking around before I started using the cane, because for folks who don't know, I use a cane to travel around because I'm visually impaired. Before I started using the cane, the world was sort of like a meaner place. And then people would see the cane and they would kind of get out of the way and they would be a lot nicer to me. And all of a sudden the world seemed like it was friendlier, even though it's basically the same people. So I feel like if you gave a bunch of people like free orgasms in certain situations, like as a whole, they'd probably be happier, because like it's not like it's like, in my mind, it's not like it's a thing that's like that they're gonna feel necessarily imposed upon. They're gonna be like, oh, that's like a thing that I enjoy, and here it is, it's happening. So I feel like if you know, like if you have that like person at work that's like a total jerk, and then you can make them poop, and that would be bad. Or you can make them orgasm a bunch, and maybe there'll be like a friendlier person because like they just had a good time.
Not.
You don't think they would?
Probably not.
You don't think they would be a little bit happier after?
No, I don't think that's going to fix a bad person. I don't think so.
I think there's like a window. You know, like I don't think that they'll inherently be a better person, but I feel like they'll probably be like a positive halo effect around the time where they're like, hey, I just had a good time, yay. That's what I think. I don't know. I guess.
Them poop.
And then
Make them poop.
I think regardless, they're going to be mad about the mess. So have fun when you poop.
Right, but one's a lot easier to deal with than the other. Like,
I think an argument can be made both ways.
Oh my god. Great.
We're going down a slippery slope of semantics.
wow.
Unintended.
Yep.
That
You've just earned a yuck from Joy.
yeah, I got to go deal with that now. I think that was our last question.
Yeah.
So,
it was.
wow, that was a question. I didn't realize we were. Anyway, that was.
Oops for everyone.
Yeah, that was a super fun show. Julia, where can people find out more about what you got going on?
Yeah. So I don't currently have anything going on, unfortunately, but things come up all the time. But yeah, if you want to go to @PuppetSpread on Instagram, it's also, we have a Facebook too. That's kind of my puppet collective I'm a part of. My women-led, female-led puppet collective. And we do a bunch of stuff all the time. Where they do, we just have a bunch of puppet stuff if you're into puppet stuff.
Great. Awesome. And Heather, what about you?
I was still just thinking about, like, what about these poor bugs that, like, they weren't given the choice. Anyway, of that question.
It's like forcing orgasms on people.
Yeah, exactly. Those poor bugs, they weren't given a choice. I don't have anything coming up. In a couple weeks, I'm going to have a show with Red Shirts, so you can follow me. Follow Red Shirts, rather, my musical improv group on Instagram, Red Shirts Musical Improv. Stay tuned for some cool shows that we're going to be doing, because we've got a couple coming up.
Cool. And then for me, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at DDATO. And if you want to follow us, you can follow us at Super Important Stuff on Instagram and find out all about guests that we have coming up. And I've been trying to do stories lately, even though they're basically just promoting the show.
I saw one today. It looked really cool.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I did a whole edit kind of thing. It was fun.
It was really good.
Thank you. So yeah, so follow so that you know what Heather's talking about.
Yeah. No, it was dope.
Men make out with bugs.
Yeah.
Just start putting
literally in a story.
You'll get tons of followers.
Yeah. And suddenly all your targeted ads.
I don't have a show coming up, but I am leading the Armory sketch along with Michelle Drozdick, leading the sketch thing. So if you'd like to audition for it and be part of it and work with me and other folks, fill out one of the applications. You can find it on my socials, and auditions are May 6th, and we'd love to have you be part of it. And that about does it for this week's show. Oh, I made that way too loud, so I'm just going to say goodbye because it'll take me too long to figure out how to make it quieter. So y'all have a good night.